क्वेश्चन पूछेगी ना तो मेरे लिए तो अच्छा ही होगा।
हाँ, तो उसने अपना वो डिसीजन मेकर की मैं पूछूंगी, मैं इस
यस
पे
यस यस।
पूछ लेना। तो वी कैन स्टार्ट नाउ।
अभी मैम
क्या बजे है क्या?
तो
अभी
लाइव
4 बजने में 1 मिनट बचा है मैम।
हाँ 1 मिनट ही बचा हुआ है।
हाँ थोड़ा 4 बजने दीजिए, क्योंकि लोग बोलेंगे कि देखो बिफोर टाइम शुरू कर दिया।
ओके
हाँ,
मैम,
है ना?
कोई बात नहीं।
बिल्कुल ऐसा ही होगा कि जैसे ट्रेन पकड़ने का टाइम 4 बजे हो, और वो
हाँ
फिर
ऐसे
है तो
थोड़ा थोड़ा वेट कर लीजिए, 1-2 मिनट थोड़ा, कोई बात नहीं।
so how are things at your end, ma'am?
ओके, वी कैन स्टार्ट। It is a pleasure for us, Professor Devika Saha, Department of Philosophy, University of North Bengal, is among us. A warm welcome, ma'am, in the WAVE workshop in Introduction to Women Position in Philosophy in collaboration with Gender Champion Committee, Department of Philosophy, Delhi University. She will speak on the topic, the role of women in global decision makers. I request Miss Richa to introduce Professor Devika Saha and conduct the session.
Sure, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Myself, Richa, PhD scholar at Department of Philosophy. Welcome you all for the 7th technical session. Firstly, I would like to owe my profound gratitude and sincere thanks to organizers for giving me an opportunity to invite the speaker of this session, Professor Dibika Shah. She is a professor and former head of the Department of Philosophy, is currently associated with teaching at Department of Philosophy, University of North Bengal. She is also serving as the director of the Center for Women Studies, North Bengal University. She has in her credit many publications both in national and international journals. She is at present honorary member of International Association of Greek Philosophy, Athens, Greece. She has attended and presented papers in different universities of the world like John Cabot University, Rome, Catholic University of America, and Lavia University. Recently, she has attended the first international conference of Hellenic Studies in Herceg Novi, Montenegro, to 29th till 4th October 2019. She has attended as invited speaker in the Mediterranean Conference under Cannes Festival in 2019. Recently, she went to Riga as invited speaker to give a talk on Heidegger and Husserl philosophy. The conference was held at University of Lavia, Riga on 10 to 12 December 2019. As alumni of Bethune College, she has been awarded Aruna Mukhopadhyay Memorial Award by Bethune College, Shamilani on 15th Feb 2020. Today, she will be speaking on the role of women as global decision makers and analysis. It's a great honor to have you here, ma'am. So the session will be for 1.5 hours. So 1 hour will be the lecture and half an hour for interactive discussion. Meanwhile, questions can be posted in chat box. Now over to you, Dibika, ma'am.
Thank you, Richa. I think I know not what I will speak. In fact, you know what happened to me due to this pandemic. So many works are being pending nowadays, and today also I had to go to the department to do the moderation of our coming exam. And then suddenly I remember, oh, today is my talk, and then hurriedly I came back. Okay, but I know not what I will speak, but I will try to say something because of my world traveling in connection with the seminars and all that. I have gathered some of the experiences which I may share with you after the formal, what I will say, formal presentation of my paper. So I think the time that you have given me is enough for me. 1 hour is a big time, and normally in the international venue, we are supposed to speak 20 minutes to 30 minutes. And but here in India, normally what happens in the last session that I went in that Northeast Hill University in the Philosophical Congress, where I am the Indian Philosophical Congress, where by chance I am the treasurer. So I had to go and attend that also in March 2020, and this that is the last what I will say last my going outside. And now for the last 7 months, I am just caught up, or what I will say, in my room, only going to the department and nowhere. So it is a type of a, what I will say, a type of a cage, like a bird who is caged totally. And I am such a person, I used to fly every time. After taking my classes, whenever I find time, even if I find time for 7 days, I just want to go any place and give my talk there. And in this way, I have made a worldwide connections, and my friends are all over the world. And nowadays, due to this webinar, even the foreign people are just making this type of webinar. Only the problem is that our timing and the foreign timing are different. So I have to go to the Google, and then I have to see the timing and then to set here. And in this way, I am presenting my papers even in Spain, in Greece, in US, in different parts of the world. But though personally I can share my feelings that I don't like this type of behavior. But no way, as you know, this is the safest, what I will say, safest way to conduct and to exchange our views all through my colleagues and my students and my fellows who are in sympathy with my view. So this is the only way through which we can share our views. So I think I have to accept this mode of learning, this mode of sharing. So no way, and I am almost habituated for the last 7 months to do all these things. Now I must, in the outset, I must thank. I must say that Professor Archana Tiwari, who is kind enough to call me. And in fact, what happened when I received a call from her, I thought, what I will tell. And she wants to know the title of my paper. And then hurriedly, I just thought that it's better to give a title which will raise some point of questions also among the audience. So I thought that the role of women as global decision makers is a type of a topic which will create interest to the audience, and I think many questions will come up after my speaking, or whatever little informations that I have gathered that I am sharing with you people. So I think it's better to start my paper. Now you see, this is 21st century, and we are already overloaded with this kind of pandemic, and we are leading a new normal life. Now we are leading a new normal life. Now I can say that this 21st century is a time when so many new avenues have opened, and this opening shows its power over the field of technology, along with other new dimensions of skill formations. A new type of skill formations are being invented in today's world. Now, one of the skills that is very important in this power-dominated world is the power to decide. Now, who will decide? Who will take the decision? Now, this power of decision making is a what I will say, is a very vital pillar which helps us to live in this world in a very systematic manner. Now, women have more influence over the decisions that affect their lives. Even in conservative societies, women have been able to execute more equitable policies and outcomes. Due to the access to education and material assets, more equal and inclusive policies are taken in favor of women. In fact, you know, I may here tell you some of the what I will say little facts which I today shared even in my department. You see, during moderation, I suddenly spoke about some questions. Then the head of the department, who is of course a very junior fellow, but though he is junior, but what happens? It is the prestige of the chair. In fact, he is the head of the department, so we must show reverence to that chair. And I am very polite and I am very much down to earth. And whenever he said anything, I just listened to him quite politely. Then he said that, Madam, you see, I am talking to you, I am talking to some other person. So why are you jumping in between the line and telling me something? Then I thought, and then I realized that I shouldn't do that. So I just keep silent. Now you see, though the person, yes, he is by his power of headship, he can anytime stop me. But if you see, I am a senior person, both in age and also as a what I will say as a person and in age. I am a senior person, but he, by the capacity of his chair, he is the supreme authority. But what is his position? He is a male person. Now you see, as a male person, he when he gives me some kind of verbal what I will say talk, then I realized, yes, it is the male dominated world. And here it happens that even if you gather so many what I will say experiences, but still when you are here in the department and in the chair there is the head of the department, and if that head is a male person, then there is some kind of a male ego which is always operating. And that male ego should, for their satisfaction, and it happens that a kind of a what I will say, a kind of a unpleasant, sometimes it happens, unpleasant talks are also being offered. Now, this is a small, what I will say, fact that I shared with you. Now, coming back to my paper, this power of decision making. Now, you see, today in the department, decision making power belongs to the head of the department, not me. But sometimes it happens that all over the world, even in the developing countries, you will find nowadays women are being held in a positions where you will find that they are executing their power of what I will say, their power of decision making, and it is possible for us to, they are giving their mandates also. For example, I can here cite an example of our country. Now you know the finance minister. Who is the finance minister now? Nirmala Sitharaman. Now this Nirmala Sitharaman, though she is a lady, but she now holds a very big position. In fact, as an alumni of JNU, I also shared she is one of my what I will say previous alumni, Nirmala Sitharaman. She also passed from this JNU campus. So you see, now being holding the post of finance minister, her mandate Though one may say that, you see, though she is now occupying the finance ministry, she is being surrounded by all her male counterparts. Yes, I must acknowledge that. But you see that her conscience is always leading, and this her conscience is working from her inside, and in that sense I can say that there is a kind of a decision making power which now belongs to her. Now, coming back to my position, you see what happens now. Women have more influence over the decisions that affect their lives. Even in conservative societies, women have been able to execute more equitable policies and outcomes due to the access to education and material assets. More equal and inclusive policies are taken in favor of women, but increases in women political power are not uniform everywhere. Some women have more influence than others, both within and outside countries. Men continue to dominate some sectors and the most powerful positions in society. Now, while explaining the decision-making powers of women, it is important to know the meaning of leadership. Now, what is meant by leadership? Leadership means the individual and collective capabilities to mobilize people and resources, economic, political, and other, in pursuit of particular ends. This includes the political aspect of mobilization, that is, the ability to navigate power relations to secure desired outcomes through contestation and negotiation and persuasion of different interests. Therefore, leadership involves the ability to influence the ideas and behavior of others and is effective when it translates into outcomes. Now, what is decision making power? Now, decision making power is the ability to influence decisions that affect one's life, both private and public. Formal access to positions of authority and to decision making processes is an important condition for women to have decision making power in the public domain. In fact, decision making power is a composite of accesses, capabilities, and actions that shape whether women have influence over the polity or decisions about their private life. Now, globally, women now have more access to positions of authority than they did 30 years ago, from the judiciary to parliament, from professional associations to the boardroom. Now, three main factors enable or constrain women's decision making power and leadership. The first one is institutions. Now, what is an institution? Institutions are rules and norms that shape people's behavior and interactions in social, political, and economic life. Four changes to formal rules have been instrumental to the increase in women's access to decision making. The first one is the extension of civil and political rights has made it more possible for women to participate in public and economic life. Second is, many countries are progressively eliminating laws that discriminates against women specifically. The third one is, democratization has given much power to the women. And the fourth one is, positive measures such as electoral or party quotas have been critical to reducing the representation gap in many countries, particularly within national legislatures. In practice, it is a combination of different rules and incentives that structures the political opportunities of different women. Now, coming to the part of structures. Now, what is structures? Structures are the deeper social, economic, and political endowments and patterns that shape a society. They tend to be persistent over time. For example, socially constructed categories and identities such as class, gender, ethnicity endure for centuries. But structural changes that reduce inequalities are ultimately what are required to close the representation gap. Urbanization, economic diversification, and changes in the gender division of labor are slowly shifting social beliefs and expectations in developing countries. Now, coming to the third aspect, that is known as capabilities. Women must draw on a range of capabilities to take advantage of the opportunities, institutional and structural changes present. Female politicians tend to be educated, middle class, and often professional. Now, here it must be said that families can also be a critical training ground for women leaders. In fact, you know what happens that while taking any major decisions, it is the families which also walks behind the, what I will say, walks behind the curtains. In fact, you see, living in a politically active household can equip women with the news and connections necessary to be effective political operators, as when parents or spouses are involved in community activism, trade unions, or national office, for instance, student politics, volunteering, and professional life are other key opportunities for women to build their political skills, their reputation, and a constituency. And in fact, this is called as a kind of a political apprenticeship, more so even than political parties or formal training programs in political skills. Now, the private sphere also informs women's power in the public sphere into their adulthood. Women have less time and fewer resources than men because of the gender division of domestic and reproductive labor. Financial and moral support of husbands and other close family members is therefore often instrumental to a woman's political career. And women who have economic capital in the form of ownership of and control over resources, income, and assets are more likely to have decision making power in the home, particularly when this economic capital is combined with cultural and social capital, such as education. Now, it may be said that women's political power depends on their collective capabilities. Women organizing with other women is critical to their questioning of men's dominance and to the solidarity needed to challenge it. Strong, independent women's organizations are also instrumental to achieve changes in gender laws and practices, especially in areas that are likely to generate strong resistance, such as with violence against women or family law. Now, I can here say that there are, in fact, as I told you before, that here families play a very important role besides the social and other, besides the society's role, family's role are nowhere to be ignored. Now, coming to the other parts, in fact, it happens that gendered barriers to political power are compounded for women who are disadvantaged by their class, ethnicity, religion, age. Women from marginalized social groups are less likely than those from dominant social groups to have the social and economic assets to enable them to take advantage of new opportunities for political power. In fact, you see, the women who are coming from the upper class and the women who are coming from the lower strata, their characters are, in fact, as women, they are same. But regarding this power, what I will say, regarding this power play is something different in these two different stratas that women belong to. In fact, the lower and the upper classes, that is the lower classes, that as we used to tell the people in the very marginalized, what I will say, marginalized class, who are not in a position to get the, what I will say, to get all the equipments that we as a upper class women enjoys. So they are being devoid of those opportunities, and naturally, being a marginalized women, they are being facing different problems which a society, only a well-equipped society, or what I will say, where women are being treated in a very what I will say, in a very sympathetic manner, in a very well-mannered way, then and then only these marginalized people can get their proper dues. In fact, I can here again share with you some of my experiences which I find when I traveled all over the world. In fact, the last program that I attended, that is in the University of Latvia in Riga, there I went there in the month of December. The lady who invited me, she's a librarian there, working in the capacity of the librarian. She came in Greece and we met, and there we exchanged our emails, and then she told me that yes, I will call you, because there will be the Husserl and Heidegger's birth anniversary, something like that. They are celebrating 100 years and 150 years, and so they thought that as I am teaching phenomenology and existentialism in my university also, so in that way they call me as an Husserl expert. So I talked on intersubjectivity. Now, the thing that I want to share with you is that I talked to that lady. Her name is Ineta Kivri. I asked that, Ineta, what you think about your positions, women's positions in Latvia, as a European country, as a very faraway European country. How are you enjoying your positions? Now, what Ineta shared to me is that, in fact, what I find, the positions as a educated lady, as a librarian, she is enjoying her positions, no doubt. But in general, she said that, you see, women are everywhere. Everywhere, women are being treated as a second-class citizens. In fact, it is the title that everybody, you must be knowing that both the second sex. In fact, we are the second sex. There is no doubt about that. But besides that, everywhere, in all over the world, in fact, wherever I went, I used to talk to the people, I used to talk with the students, especially the female students, and I used to gather the ideas from them. And what I find that all over the world, women's positions are almost similar. Only the opportunities that they enjoy are quite different, because in India, we don't get that type of opportunities. Yes, that is right. But maybe in Europe or in US or in Japan or in other Asian countries, they may be enjoying a good, what I will say, a good opportunities are there. But besides that, if you just bracket those opportunities, then you will find all over the world, women's position are the same. In fact, in home, in outside, everywhere, they are under a kind of a surveillance. I can here cite the examples of that famous surveillance system of that Bacon provided long before 17th century, that there is a kind of surveillance which is already there, and this surveillance is being operated all over the world, all over the world. We are always under a kind of a surveillance, and this surveillance, I will say, it is not all every time. I am not saying that it has negative effects. I am not saying that. It has also a positive aspect, but besides that, but the surveillance is always there. Our every steps are being monitored, you may say, like every steps are being monitored, and this monitoring helps people to gain the data, to gain the other related informations. And so in that way, women's positions, even though in this 21st century, as I am saying, as I am delivering this lecture to you, I am telling you that it is true that we are now in a very better positions. We are now, it is possible for us to what I will say, to give our opinions, but still there are a kind of surveillance which is always there, and a kind of monitoring always keeps us awake, and we are always under this kind of a monitoring framework. Now, coming to the world scenario, I may say that everywhere you will find that nowadays women are in a more better positions. Her what I will say, her voice is now being raised, and there are so many women writers like that our Gayatri Chakraborty Spivak, who is a very strong feminist, and I happen to meet her also, and there she wrote so many things, and so many voluminous books that she produced. A very strong, what I will say, a strong writer, and what the beliefs, the opinions that she holds, I think is a very influential one, and which helps us to make our actions in a very good manner. So I can say, in fact, you see what happens, that if a person who is equipped with all his knowledgeable skills and all the things, and if he or she, whoever he or she is, if he or she can open up their mind, can open up their windows, to quote John Locke's position, that we have our windows are there, like we have our sensations, our perceptions, and if we can always open up our windows, then so many things will come inside, and in that way we can always enrich ourselves. So it is not that if we are just boasting ourselves that yes, I am this, I am that, that in that way it will not be possible for you to gain anything. But try to be open up your mind, try to open up your ears, try to hear what other people are saying, what other peoples are supplying, and then from their views also it will be possible to get some new vision, and this new vision will again reopen a new avenue, and this new avenue will then help one to make a very good enjoyable position, a good enjoyable world. You know, in this pandemic, what I find, I attended so many webinars, I even delivered so many lectures also. But you see, whenever I am attending any webinar or I am delivering any lectures, I am always enriching myself. And this way of enriching myself helped me to make my studies more effective. In fact, as you know, studies are something which you can pursue as long as you can. In fact, studies are something which is so very helpful. If you make your minds open, then it will be a great help to you, and in future it will be possible for you to develop more insightful visions. In fact, you know, there are some of the cases where we find that as a marginalized person, sometimes it happens that in society, what happens that we feel sometimes that our voices are not being given enough weightage. But you see that sometimes it may happen that sometimes due to the political pressure, due to family pressure, or due to the other pressures, it happens that a person's voice may not be heard. And in that way, I may say there are so many unheard voices of women all over the world. There are so many unheard voices. In fact, you see, our voices are heard voices. In fact, you people who are the colleagues of mine who are working in your college, in the other universities, in other parts of our country, even in the other parts of the world, their voices are very much heard voices. But you see, there are so many voices which remains unheard, and these unheard voices have also something to say. And if you just try to hear those unheard voices, it will be possible for us to build a very good, what I will say, a solid foundation, very solid foundation of knowledge. It will be possible for us to know so many unexplored avenues, and those unexplored avenues will help us to explore so many new visions. But it happens that we are not so very attentive to those unheard voices. Normally what happens, we always pay attention to those persons who are very famous, who are in the forefront of the society, who are in the, I may say, who are the creams of the society. But you see, who makes these creams of the society? There are those unheard voices whose works are also very important. But we are not so very, what I will say, not so very giving attention to those unheard voices. In fact, I always, while traveling to the different parts of the world, I used to see those faces whose faces are not so very, what I will say, not so very high. They are very low voices and they work very silently. And those silent observer, those silent spectator, I may say that there are a certain class of women who work as silent spectator, as silent observer. They are working day and night, but their works are never being recognized. Their works are never being recognized. And in that way, they are working as a silent observer, silent spectator. And these silent spectators, these silent persons, they are also adding our resources, but we are not paying attention to them. But let us, I think, I will say that as women leaders, as women, as decision makers, when we are giving any decisions, normally male persons who are there in our family, they used to say, you see, in family you are the main, you are the Rani, you are the queen. So here your words are the final. So here you are the person who is making decisions. So why are you grudging? You see, it's not a question of grudging. It's not a question of grudging. Yes, in the family, women's words are the, sometimes it has been seen, women's words are the final. But you see, behind this final version also, there works the silent hands. There are the silent hands. I may quote here Adam Smith's word, that Adam Smith also says that something silently working, a kind of an hand, it is working there. But, and whose hand is that? It is the male counterpart. It is the male counterpart who is working and who is being operating silently. And though it seems that women's decisions are here making majority, but in fact what happens, you see, behind it also the male counterparts are being working. So I may say that whatever the case may be, in this 21st century, all over the world, women as world decision makers, I may say that they are gaining nowadays weightage, and they are gaining weightage, and they are getting their freedom to display their thoughts, their views, their opinions among the male counterparts. And you see, it is time now not to see who is what. It is not that you will be viewing as a male or a female. The question is that you must see the person as a human being. The question of humanity is the first and foremost. So first and foremost, we are human beings. And then comes whether you are male or female or something else. Now, if you treat a person as a human being, then and then only it will be possible for us to build a very nice society, a very organized society. Otherwise, if I say that okay, we are being debarred from entering this and that, we are giving not no weightage, then what will happen? There will be always clashes, but these clashes is not the expected ones that we want in this time or in any time. In fact, justice will prevail. When justice will prevail? If we treat all persons as human beings first. So let us treat everyone first as human. And then comes the question of gender, then comes the question of class and any other thing. In fact, you see, if you always view yourself as a female or as a male or as a noiter, then it will not be possible for you to progress in a good manner, because always then you will be hindered back, you will be always encapsulated within your own physical, what I will say, your own physical boundaries, and then you will feel, okay, I am a female, so it will not be possible for me to do this type of work. In fact, nowadays females are being advancing so much that they are being progressing in every aspect of life, in every job they are applying, and they are being successful, and they are leading a very successful life. In fact, it is true that physically women are not so strong like the male. Okay, that is the thing we must admit. It is we must admit that yes, we women are some kind of a lesser strong human being. But you see, I can say that if you go to Russia, if you go to Istanbul, you will find that there women are not like us. They are not like our features. Our features are like small and not so very strong. But if you go to Russian people, Russian women, they are so very strong. In fact, there are some countries of Europe, you will find that women are very strong. Even in Greece, Greece is a country which is there are 400 islands, and these 400 islands are being dominated by quizzes. And in those quizzes, all the persons who are working, they are all women, and those women are so very heavily built that when in the shore, they just put these quizzes in that rope, and those ropes are so very heavy. We Indian ladies, it will not be possible for us to tie up the ropes, but those Greek women, they are doing their jobs every day with that heavily built ropes, and they used to do these jobs, and so physically also they are very strong. In fact, those persons, those Greek women and Russian women, and there are Turks also, who are so very strong built, and it will not be possible for you just to compare your build in and their physique. In fact, here I may share a very little note to you. Some time back, I went to US and stayed there for 1 year, and you see what happened there regarding that water. I used to buy big cartons of water. Now, after buying that, I realized that it will not be possible for me to take those cartons to my room. So what I will do? So I am feeling very helpless. And you see, in a foreign country, it is not like us that you will get the rickshaw or the auto to take that thing and you will transport that. So, and I don't have any car with me, and I am feeling very helpless. Now, the counter lady, who is a very strong built lady, she realized that I have some problems. Then she asked that, Madam, can I help you? So I said that, you see, I bought all those all those things. Now it is I find it very difficult how to take it to my room. Then she said, okay, ma'am, give me some 10 minutes. I am giving my work to someone else. I will help you. You see, that lady, she is a very heavy built lady, black lady, and she took all my things. And I just accompanied me, and she helped me to put the bottles in my room. So you see, why I am giving you all these examples? It is only because that it is not that physically also we are strong, but it happens that Asian women, especially the South Asian women, especially the Indian women, we are not so very strongly built. It's true. But if you go to Europe, if you go to some other parts of the world, you will find women are doing all these types of physical labor also. And so it is not that women are physically not so very strong. But one thing which I must share with you, one unique capability is only with the women. What is that? Women can only be mother. This motherhood, which is the unique capabilities of women. So, mother, this motherhood is something which the women only can have, can endure this all these things. But nowadays, due to this technologically advanced society, what happens? The test tube babies, these, that, whatever, so many things. And nowadays there are different types of relationships are also being going on. I am not going to that thing because that is not within my purview, but I can say this to you only, that you see, now in this 21st century and after this pandemic, you see, now this pandemic is being going on, the world scenario is totally being changed. And now I know not what will happen. Even in the 2021, even the scientists are being predicting that we have to go with this new normal life. And this new normal life will lead us to where no one knows. Now, I can say only that women's power, or women's power as decision makers, this is something which is very vital in today's world. In fact, in today's world, women are playing a kind of a role model, and there are, in different parts of the world, we find that there are different types of women who are being nowadays, who are being demonstrated this type of power decision making thing, and they are doing their things very nicely. In fact, I can say that there is a very famous philosopher, Michel Foucault, who says that knowledge is power, or I can say, just in a reverse manner, power is knowledge, and this knowledge is power and power is knowledge, which is being in the 17th century, Francis Bacon also taught, and nowadays Michel Foucault and other persons who are also saying like that. And this power, this a kind of a power play is being always being played all over the world. And in this power play, women are being taking a lead role nowadays. And you can see that if you just go through the national or the international news, you will find that women everywhere is playing a very lead role in decision making. So I may conclude my talk by saying that, you see, let us come together. Don't just try to weigh who is right, whether male or female. No, this is not the right way to weigh anyone's power. I will say it is the humanity. It is the human being who comes always first. So let us take a pledge that we are, first of all, we are all human beings. And then comes the question of male or female. Now, if you see everyone as human being, then there comes no problem. Then every problem will be resolved. But if you want to see as male or female, then only the ego problem comes up. So I will always suggest, don't be egoistic. Don't think that I am powerful. Don't think that you are the super person. In fact, you see, in this world, no one is super. No one is super. We are all are like, what I will say, we are like a normal human being. We are acting in our own way. And if we act in a normal way, then and then only it will be possible for us to reach that desired goal. So let us take the pledge that do not fight with each other, that do not say that I am heavier person and you are smaller person. No, don't say like that, but say that we are all human beings, and we try to capture the world by our good deeds, by our good actions, and in that way only it will be possible for us to make this world a beautiful world. So let us take this pledge again in this 21st century, and let us make the world again a good world to inhabit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for enriching us with your positive thoughts. Ma'am, Archana ma'am, should I summarize it?
No, open for discussion.
Okay. Um, so I just open the floor for interactive discussion. I can't see any question in chat box,
Hello.
so
Hello.
yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
I'm Dr. Rekha here. May I ask? Hello. Yes. Very good evening, ma'am. And it was wonderful listening to you. Um, like you have very rightly mentioned, like women are often dynamic leaders of change, and galvanizing women and men to get involved, claims their right, strengthen their community, and protect their planet also. And their participation is fundamental to democratic governments. But don't you think, ma'am, that still women are far to go towards equal representation in position of power and leadership, whether in corporate bedrooms or presidential cabinet or in a domestic arena? Uh, Again, there are discriminatory laws which is being practiced which hold women back. Apart from laws, there are mindset of the society which are very, very important. Like, let me give a simple example. uh, Ma'am, you are in West Bengal, right? North.
Yes, yes, yes.
NBU. I'm in Shantiniketan. আমি
Okay.
শান্তিনিকেতনে আছি তো like you know I think you must have visited Shantiniketan.
Yes, yes, of course.
Then let me give a small example. Whenever any LIC agent or house loan agent, car loan agent, whatever, when they visit our home, their first question is, "Sir, barite achen?" Sir is at home.
Yes,
I
you
mean,
are right.
this kind of mindset which people still have, even if the agent is a girl,
Yes,
it hardly matters, but they are looking for the male counterpart because they knows that the decision will be taken by them. They have taken it for granted that all the decisions, this kind of decision, will be taken by men, and they are looking for the male member. So here I want you to react little. And the second part, which you have talked about, the physical strength of women. Like Indian women are less, they have less strength than Russian women or South African women. So I disagree here because this is not the case. Actually, the training which Indian woman gets from the beginning is quite different training which Russian women or South African women gets. That is how they are more physically strengthened than the Indian women. This is my submission. Yes, that's all. I want you to react, please.
okay. So, thank you, Professor Rekha, for your comment. Yes, you are very right. I may start with the last one. Yes, you are very right. I must admit, yes, the training of women here is very important. And we, as Indian people, we every from our very birth, we have given a type of a, what I will say, a type of a lesson that, see, you are women, so don't do this thing, don't do that thing, don't do. And in that way we are debarred from the physical things, and in that way we are being like this soft tender type of women that we are being made. But in case of Western people, what happens, they get the training, and so in that way they are very strong, and they know that in that struggle for existence they have to go with the male counterpart. So in
Yes,
that
ma'am.
in that case, yes, I totally agree with you that in India what happens, that women are not given that type of prerogative, that type of privilege, and it is the reason. So if women are given more privilege, then they can prove themselves. Yes, you are very right. Yes, thank you. And the other thing, the mindset. Yes, this is the main thing. In fact, in my lecture, I should have mentioned, thank you, Professor Rekha, that you have pointed it out. It is the mindset. Now you see the whole thing that I have been narrated. I may say the narrative that I have gone through in my lecture. here the mindset is very important. I know not whether you are present from the very beginning. In the very beginning, I have given in today's experience of mine in my department that my head of the department almost said that, Madam, you just stop. I am talking to something, so let me
Yes, ma'am.
finish. And
I
then
listened.
yes,
I listened. I
yeah,
listened
yeah.
to you.
You see here what happens. Yes, I am wrong. He is giving something, and then in between I just jumped. Okay, but you see what happens. The mindset. Here comes the mindset. Immediately his mind is wrong. He said that, you see the male ego. He said, you see that I as a head I am sitting here, and I am giving some directions, and that lady, and she is jumping with his ideas and with his things in between my speech. And so you see, it is the mindset. You are very right. And now what I think after I can tell you that thank God that God has given me that type of strength that till now I have almost visited 30 countries. And I have so many I want to go visit so many countries, but due to this pandemic, my everything got stopped. And everywhere I find this mindset, as you mentioned, that the difference is what? The difference is that their colors are different. They are being white women, and their statures are different. But everywhere they are complaining that, you see, madam, in our house this type of things happens. These things are being operated, and these things are being going on. So you see, I find, and here my suggestion will be that whenever, but nowadays I can see a little bit changes that are being, what I will say, that are being seen in today's generation, that people are not viewing women as a type of what I will say, as a luxury item, or something like a like someone who is always there to give us enjoyment and this type of thing. No, now they are viewing women as a storehouse of knowledge, also as a companion, as other things. So now the generation is being treating women not in that way, but still we have to go a long way. So this mindset, one must change the mindset. You see, in road, in streets, whenever you are walking, even if you are an old woman, then also, as you are a woman, everyone will stare at you as if you are someone with something different. So this is called mindset. So we have to change our mindset. You are very right. Thank you, madam, for giving for saying
Thank you.
these things
Thank you so
to
much,
me.
ma'am. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you, madam.
Richa, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Rekha ma'am. Any further questions or comments?
If there are no questions, then I would like to say something. Uh, is there anyone who wants to ask anything? Otherwise, I have a question, or rather an observation, Debika ma'am. That,
Yes, of course.
thank you so much for delivering such a nice lecture, where you have tried to show that how even women uh, and men, both of them are the part of this structure, and at some level, men too have to suffer due to this social structure and political structure, and women are facing some other kind of suppression because of their gender. So that is there. And on the other hand, you have said that we have made certain kind of progress, because nowadays women can get education, and women are also participating in so many organizations and all. So these things are changing. But on the other hand, as you have already mentioned Foucault, where you said that the concept of power and knowledge, the relationship between the power and knowledge, I would like to say that with the changing structure, even though it is giving some kind of benefit, if we agree to that, okay, it is creating new kinds of problems, every day. Since women are like, first of all, the thing is that women are trying to be the part of men's world. It seems as if, we are trying to adjust ourselves in men's world. So we are trying to get those positions which are already given to men, and we are trying to be there. So it is not like, we are creating a world where it will be a human world. Rather, it's a men's world, and we are trying to participate in that. And the way Foucault has tried to analyze the power, since the power is structured in patriarchy, and the sort of knowledge it is creating will always reflect that power. So it's like, it doesn't matter whether women are progressing or not, because of this power structure and the knowledge it creates every day, which changes with the circumstances. Women will always have to be objectified at one or the other level, since they can never change the world itself, and they only just have to left with this option of participating in men's world. So, ma'am, I seek your observation on this point.
Yes, Madam Archana, you are right also here, that here we are now facing a new kind of problem. You see, women are now in a kind of double bind is there. What is the double bind? Double bind is that a women is now walking outside and walking inside. So these two walks are already there. So it is a kind of a double bind. So you see, women are now feeling that you are right, that it is as if we are stepping into the men's world, and this men's world, as if we are trying to make adjustment in this world. But you see, I have already spoken that if you could view this world as a human world, which you also mentioned, if you just view it as a human, as a kind of a human faced world. Because if you view yourself as male or female, then and then only this type of problem arises. Because you see, for example, you are a working lady, you are a professor, you are also imparting knowledge to the students. Like me, I am also imparting my knowledge to the students. Now you see, what happens when after the days long work, you and your husband comes home exhausted? What happens? It is you who went to the kitchen and makes the coffee or the tea. But nowadays, what happens, that even the husband also, they are suggesting that, yes, okay, ma'am, okay, Archana, please sit here. I am going there, and I will make a tea for you. So you see, a kind of a new orientation is now being displayed. And this type of displaying, I think, is being giving us a new kind of a rays of hope, I may say, a kind of a rays of hope. And these rays of hope will, I think, will vanish this kind of a problem that you are mentioning here. And yes, and as Foucault mentioned about this power and knowledge, you see, this Foucault, he's what I will say, is such a creative writer. I admire Foucault very much. In fact, in my class, I always, whenever I used to give examples, I give this Foucault's example of this power, knowledge, and there are this trio and everything which I used to focus to my students. You see, power is something. It is something which makes person quite different. If you are in a power game, for example, you are now head of department. For example, suppose that you are now VC. If you are VC, you see what happens. Even if you are a female, but your role is totally changed. So, as if it is the power structure, these structures are always operating. And as I told you, there are 3 points: the structure, capabilities, and the other thing I just forget. And these capabilities and structures, these capabilities and structures made us a totally different type of human being. In fact, these capabilities structures, and this as it makes us totally different, and institutions, these three institutions, structures and capabilities, these three makes our positions totally different. So even if you are a female, but if you assume a VC's position, what happens? Your total face being changed, and you are acting in such a manner, and that shows that how you are being power loaded, a kind of a power loaded game is there. So you see, I think that nowadays, due to these diverse positions of men and women, and there are also other anointed persons who are now, and now the society is being so very changed, and I am not entering into that, there are different types of marriages, there are different types of relationships. I am not entering into that because it will create a very hot debate, and I don't want to get entangled with that. But you see, these are being going on. So I must admit that you are very right in your opinion.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
My
जी, ma'am.
question, पूछो पूछो
हाँ,
पूछो.
हाँ,
Good evening,
मैं-
ma'am.
अच्छा अच्छा
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Agvima, and I wanted to ask you a question.
Yes, of course, madam.
As we
Tell
know
me.
that, as we know that decision is the ability to influence people around us, but in our society, women get fewer opportunities for economic participation, less access to education, whether basic or higher, and less political representation. When it comes to efficacious decision making, then men are preferred. So, how can women identify the power of decision making?
Okay, you see, you are very right that it is a male dominated society, and whenever there is the question of decision making comes, it is always from the back door, it is the male who gets the chance. You are very right, dear. But you see, that's what I'm trying to say all through my lectures. Nowadays, almost the fewer opportunities is there, but through these fewer opportunities, you have to push yourselves. If you push yourselves, if you are strong enough, I think it will be possible for you to win and win only. In fact, in our daily life, this type of things happens. Yes, of course, women have very fewer opportunities, and it is through the back door. Male are being operating their things, and you know what happens. But if your willpower is strong, I can give my examples. You see, I always want to do some things, and I saw that due to my strong willpower, I am able to reach this type of position here. So I also advise you, yes, you are right, that though there are fewer opportunities, but if you just what I will say, continuously pursue your end, you will succeed soon, and success will be at your feet only. I must say that success will be at your feet only. Okay. In fact, I must say that if you just try to be in a continuous process, this continuous process will lead you to a new type of horizon, and you will succeed ultimately. Success will be at your feet. Sure, and you will then remember my words. Thank you, dear.
thank you so much, ma'am. Yeah, Richa, are there any further questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So I would like to say that, I would like to summarize the lecture given by Professor Devika Saha, that she, even though she was saying that she couldn't get enough time to prepare for the lecture, but it seems that she doesn't need to do that. The life experiences she has is enough in itself to become a lecture. Like, the way you have dealt with the issues women face, and then the motivation you have tried to give us that if we try and if our willpower is strong enough, we can get out of any kind of situation. And also, yes, the society and this world is full of such kind of discriminations where women have to face difficulties. But yes, there should always be a hope, and that hope has been given by you to us, that we can, if we decide, we can do anything we want to. It doesn't matter how many hurdles we have to face. So with these words, I would like to invite Ms. Richa Kela to give a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Devika ma'am, for sparing us a time for all of us and giving us a time to talk about gender, caste, or religion.
Uh, is there any issue? I guess you have freezed uh,
For
your
this,
connection.
hello,
See,
Yeah.
internet
am I
problem
audible,
is.
ma'am?
Yes, you were freezed. Now you are audible.
Okay. So thank you so much, Devika ma'am, for an insightful lecture and giving and sparing us a time for all of us and giving us a new hope for a new vision, new avenue, which surely will help us all of us to live in an enjoyable world and to take humanity or as a human being first and then talk about gender, caste, or be it a male, female. With this, I would like to thank everyone, the audience, speaker, and everyone. With this, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Richa, for conducting the session so wonderfully. And once again, thank you so much, Professor Dibika Saha, for coming and becoming the part of our workshop. And thank you, everyone, from the convener side. So we will meet tomorrow for the next session at 11 o'clock. Have a nice day. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Be
Okay.
safe and take care, everyone. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.